See if we can make it to the carrier with a rib.
Oh, black up on you.
My God. Oh, somebody's on there at 14. Oh, that's 3 rockets. Wow.
He's down.
This is Battlefield 6, and I'm flying an F-14 Tomcat, complete with lock-on missiles and Kenny Loggins playing in the background. Well, okay, you guys can't hear him because of YouTube copyright music, but trust me, he's there, bro. This is the Battlefield 6 Season 4 update and Top Gun crossover. No, this is not just a nod to Top Gun, it's a literal crossover with Top Gun Maverick, complete with the movie characters in cutscenes setting up your missions. It's a little goofy, I'm not gonna lie, but who am I to complain? I've got an F-14 Tomcat. Oh yeah, and Wake Island as well. I'd like to give EA a shout out for inviting me to this early capture event so that I could bring you footage and my impressions a bit sooner, and in case you're not catching a hint, my impressions are good. We're getting one of my favorite maps remade to an incredible quality. The Battlefield 5 remake of Wake Island I thought was phenomenal. Battlefield 6 is taking it to the next level. It just has so much more density and things to do and detail to every single capture point. It feels like you can have a full-on battle at every single capture point now, whereas before it felt like smaller pockets of combat could break out. There weren't that many places to hide and duck behind. BF6 is like an entire engagement zone at each chunk around the map. Plus they have a new cool engagement zone right in the middle of the U-shape of the island with some destroyed ships, and it just looks awesome. There's attack helicopters flying around, jets taking off from the runway, tanks trying to maneuver their way around the island. It's all my favorite cues from the original at Wake Island, but just upgraded in a fantastic way. This update also comes with 2 new game modes. There's the RedSec Gauntlet Fighter Sweep, which is sort of weird that it's tied into RedSec, but it's essentially air superiority if you've played that in older games with maybe a few more rules here and there. It's fine, I had some fun with it, but I'm not looking to go back to it really. The main core modes are the star of the show here. Carrier Strike is the other game mode here, and I think it's fun and it plays really well. If you're not familiar with Carrier Strike from previous Battlefield games or the original Titan mode from Battlefield 2142, this is a mode in which your objective is to destroy the enemy team's aircraft carrier. You do so by capturing points on the map, just like you would in Conquest, but these points launch missiles once you own them towards the enemy team's carrier. Once those carriers have 50% of their remaining health, they will open up and become vulnerable to an infantry attack. You can either destroy the carriers outright by continuing to launch missiles at them and even hitting them with vehicles, or you can go for the infantry approach and set MCOMs inside of the carriers. Both are fun, both are viable. I thought the mode played really well, if I'm being honest, and it was a cool blast from the past. I enjoyed it in Battlefield 4, but that game mode felt really limited for what it was at the time. I remember the devs being really kind of locked in by some of the engine tech and not being able to take it as far as they wanted to. Battlefield 6 feels far less restricted. The interiors of the carriers looks a lot better this time. The sequence of fighting inside of the carriers is cool. You can obviously fly helicopters into the carriers you could before and create those crazy Battlefield moments. It's just a solid time from start to finish. I think it's a good game mode. Now, let's talk about the twin-seater jets just for a moment. I know not everybody in Battlefield's into piloting, and frankly, I've let my piloting skills in this specific game lapse a little bit, just because they're kind of arcadey and very specific to the Battlefield genre, but twin-seater jets is actually fun in this. That's something that is not the case for a lot of Battlefield games. It certainly was not the case for, say, Battlefield 2, where you could get a twin-seater and the second seat was just awful, like you couldn't do much of anything that was worthwhile in it. In this one, however, you can play from a third-person perspective in the passenger seat. You can not only just spot everything around you, but you get air-to-air lock-on missiles that you can fire even if the plane is not aiming at the target, and they will loop around and hit that target. This gives you, combined with the pilot, a total of 4 air-to-air lock-on missiles, which makes you an absolute beast in aerial combat. And if you're coordinated with the pilot and one of you's firing off a single missile to get them to pop flares, and then you fire off all 3 after that, you can absolutely melt your competition. You can also fire lock-on missiles at somebody on your tail, causing them to break off. It's pretty fun. It's much more fun when you're communicating directly with the pilot, and I was playing with Nick 930 at the time, and it was an absolute blast doing both the piloting and the gunning roles here. Now, the alternate fire here is some type of laser guided missile. I didn't find it particularly effective. The best I ever did was splash damage some targets. I don't think I ever got a straight on kill with it. So it feels like more of a way to kind of assist and maybe soften up some targets, but it's not a one and done, you're gonna one-shot tons of guys with this type of weapon. Now, if you've been practicing your boating skills on Suru Reef, well, they're certainly gonna pay off on Wake Island. The attack boats have much bigger areas of engagement. In fact, the whole island feels kind of accessible to them to some degree, especially if you're inside of the U-shape. You just have so many target opportunities. In fact, the attack boats can absolutely lock down the central point here. It's really fun. It also means that the attack boats are targets for just about everything else on the island. So just as they are more effective, they are also more vulnerable, but they just feel way more in the fight compared to Suru Reef. And I actually held off from playing them too much because I could have easily spent the whole capture session just in these things. There's also attack helicopters on Wake Island, which are really fun. I'm a big fan of helicopters in Battlefield 6, and the attack helis feel like they're gonna have a real good time on this map, you know, assuming they can keep the jets at bay, which are now an even bigger threat. There are tanks on the island, and you can be effective with them. In fact, the linearness of the island can allow tanks to lock down paths a little bit more effectively, but there's so much cover and the close quarters get a bit tight here that good infantry are gonna be able to take down the armor without too much trouble, I'd imagine. The infantry combat here is also great. Snipers are going to have a heyday sniping across the U-shape to the other side of the island. Plenty of open areas, plenty of tall vantage points, especially for the snipers, and also plenty of buildings to have infantry-only style firefights. Although I think those buildings are largely destructible, so we'll see how that holds up over the course of a round. Overall, I'm really impressed with DICE's work here. It's kind of incredible to see the evolution of Wake Island, and even in other modern Battlefield games like Battlefield 3, where Wake Island was cool, it was fun, it was good for its time, but this iteration of it just feels like a full-on mega combat zone. Like, in a way, it's almost unrecognizable if you compare it to like the OG Wake Island. But if you compare it to, say, the Battlefield 5 Wake Island, you start to see the similarities a little bit more closely. But this one just has so much more density to it, and the flow feels really good. Granted, I was playing with a lot of people capturing content, so I have no idea if we were all playing for the win or everybody was just trying to get kills with their favorite gun or capture screenshots. So it's entirely possible that the gameplay and pacing will change up a bit for launch, but so far I'm very impressed. I think this is going to be a fan favorite once again. The devs did Wake Island justice as far as I'm concerned. I'm really excited for you guys to play it and let me know what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this early preview of the content. Up next, if you want to see what I'm doing when I'm not playing Battlefield 6, check out this devlog on the video game that I'm building with publisher Hooded Horse. We are over 2 years into development of this spaceship action RPG. I'm really excited about our progress. I think you guys will enjoy it. Check that out, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.